Hey guys, it's Lynn in Fidget DIYs, where I do home decor on a budget. You can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, and obviously YouTube. This video is part of Just Our Imagination, which is a challenge hosted by Kathy Jo at Kathy Jo DIYs, Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY, and I'm honored to be the guest host this month. And here is the list for the must-use challenge items. All that being said, let's fidget. Alright, for this first one, I'm starting out by separating the back side of this napkin with some masking tape. And I'm going to take a paintbrush, dip it in some water, and go around the portions of this napkin that I want to use. I took the bottom sticker off of this fishbowl from Dollar Tree, and I used rubbing alcohol and cleaned that real well. I've learned that is a pretty important step. And now I'm going to take my fan brush and I'm going to position my flowers where I want them. I'm going to hold the napkin down with one hand and put a very thin layer of Mod Podge down just to get that piece to stick to the glass. Then I'm going to move my finger and Mod Podge that to that section where my finger was. And I'm going to do the same thing with small sections of this piece of napkin along the whole, entirety of this bowl. And I do it piece by piece like that so I don't tear anything, I don't get wrinkles, I get very few bubbles, and nothing bunches up or like clumps up with too much Mod Podge. After I finish that and it's dry, I do a little bit of Mod Podge around the rim of that fishbowl. And I have these gold flakes that I got at Dollar Tree as well. And I applied those to the rim of the bowl and the edges of these butterflies that I had cut out of that plastic. And here it is, all nice and lit up. And I just think that is gorgeous, y'all. I have it sitting on my nightstand. It's so fancy. And here it is with the candle turned off. And the reason I didn't paint that fishbowl and make that napkin pop was so that the candle would shine through anytime I turned it on. Y'all let me know down in the comments what you think about this one, which way you like it. Alright guys, I've got this real thick heavy duty cardboard box and a piece of plastic that I got from a cake container that came from Walmart. I cut that to size, cleaned it up. I used it to trace the size I needed out of the top of this box. I took my X-Acto knife and I cut that out as straight as I possibly could. And next I'm going to use some masking tape and tape around the edges where I had just cut that cardboard. Now I'm going over it with Waverly Snow White chalk paint. And I was originally going to use rice paper, but I decided to use scrapbook paper. Now, I didn't have to take that step of painting it because the scrapbook paper is thick. Anyhow, I traced out the size I needed, cut that out, and I used the X-Acto knife for the rectangle on the interior part where that little window is, because I wanted it to be a really nice clean cut. And now, that one clean cut, y'all, I was amazed. It turned out just right. I had to sand the edges eventually, but that was about it. It was amazing. Anyway, so now I've got the matte Mod Podge, and I'm doing a nice thick coat of that and pushing down my scrapbook paper as I go along. I'm not worried about bubbles. I'm not worried about wrinkles. I'm not worried about doing just a thin layer. All of this because of the type of paper that I'm putting on top of here. So if you change that up, you're going to probably have to change the amount of Mod Podge you use and all that. Now this is some Waverly paint. I'm going to read you the front. It's in cobalt blue and it says it's super premium high performance semi-gloss acrylic paint. And I've never seen Waverly put out paint like this, but whatever, y'all probably know about it. Anyway, I was impressed. So I'm painting the inside of the bigger part of that box in that color. And now I'm going to let all that dry. I've got the front of the box again. And I'm going to put hot glue around the edges. I'm going to put my plastic sheet down on there as straight as I can, just to make sure that the edges are completely closed off. And I follow that up with some masking tape along the edges, because I'm going to be putting stuff in this box. Now here's where I found out that the top of it doesn't fit over the bottom of the box. I mixed up my box lids, whatever. So I just tape around the entire thing, making a good seal. And now I'm sanding off the edges of that scrapbook paper. And on the top, I traced out this rectangle so I can put stuff in there. And I've got these cricket designs that I put on the front. It's a little crab, and it says "Life is better at the beach." And I did use that scrapbook paper along the sides and the top of that box as well. I didn't show that part. And then I filled that halfway up with sand that my daughter and I collected from the beach, and so it's got like little pieces of stuff in it, but it's important sand. So I'm taking the sisal rope and I'm going around just the front edges of this display box, and the color on here where you see it now is accurate, but in the reveal there's like way too much yellow. See? Here it is. And I dropped in some driftwood, some memory shells from me and my husband walking on the beach, or me and my kids picking up stuff. Y'all put down in the comments what you think of this one, and let me know what kind of stuff would you put in your display box. Alright guys, for this one I took the tops of those badminton birdies off, and I used my razor blade and cut those into 4 of the same sized rings, and I used apple barrel black to paint all 4 of those. And I came in with my heat tool and burned, or melted rather, holes in the tops of each of my birdies, and I used a total of 6. You only see 4 here, but I decided to add another piece later. So now I've got these embroidery needles, and I'm going to hot glue the end of this ribbon to the embroidery needle so I can thread this ribbon through the openings toward the top of these badminton birdies. So I'm basically weaving that in through all of those, and now I'm going to come through with some hot glue around the base of the birdies, and I'm going to do a single layer of string around the inside of 3 of these birdies. I'm just going as close to the bottom as I can, and I'm cutting it off, adding the hot glue. Okay, and that's that. So then with the next birdie, I find where the ribbon is lined up in the back, and I cut through just the base of that birdie, and then hot glue, pull it over a little and hot glue it back to itself, basically making the circumference of the second birdie small enough to fit inside the lip of the first birdie with the string. I'm doing all of this with healthy helpings of hot glue, guys. It's held up really, really well. I made it a few days ago before I did this voiceover, and they're holding together pretty nice. So I made 3 of those, which is a total of 6 birdies, and I put those rings back onto the tops and of those what we're going to call lanterns now. And here I am with the embroidery needle again, and some fairy lights. And this is a string of 20 lights, and I'm going to feed those through the top and bottom of each of these lanterns. I'm so glad I had that embroidery needle. It made everything easier. So as I'm pulling it through, I make sure that the battery pack is going to stick out of the bottom of the very first section. And as actually after I weave the lights through them, I go back and I bunch up 6 lights into the first lantern, 7 lights into the second lantern, and 7 lights into the final lantern. You'll see here I start shoving them back in there. I counted 4, but I did 6. So I stuffed those back in there. And after I got those stuffed in there, I connected the next lantern to it with some hot glue. And I did that to all 3 of them. Now I'm taking one of the large skewer sticks that you can get at the Dollar Tree in a pack of, like, I don't know, there's a good bit of them in there. And I cut one down and painted it white. And I'm sticking that through the holes that we had melted. And I found this extra large bead that fit on the very bottom, so that would lock my lanterns in. Now I've got 4 tumbling tower blocks, 2 Jenga blocks, and 2 of the wood squares that you can get in a pack from Dollar Tree as well. And I put together a real quick base for this thing. I attached the battery pack to the back, and I painted the base black with apple barrel. And here it is. Oh, and I added the bows, one on each one. I thought that just added some cuteness. And I don't know, I think this turned out super cute, and it's really convenient because it sits on my desk now where I can put like just a bunch of stuff around it, and it doesn't get in the way like a lamp, and it puts off a lot of light. You'll see that. Yep, right, yeah. And that's it lit, and it's that string of white fairy lights, and I actually can turn this on and read a book without bothering my husband, and I just love it. Y'all let me know what you think of this little odd item down in the comments. Alright, for this last one, I've got this wooden shadow box type deal that I had gotten at Hobby Lobby ages ago. I used it for Christmas trees. You can kind of see the glue pattern on the inside of that last year. I tore that out, and now I'm taking my poker tool and I'm putting holes spaced evenly in the top for these 2 hooks. My goal in doing this is so that I can make this double-sided. Alright, so now I'm coming in with some of this buffalo check ribbon, and I cut each piece to size. I'm going around the edge of that to hide where the glue was on the previous project, and just to add some cuteness to this one. So I did that along all 4 of the edges. Okay, now after I did that along the edges, I have this MDF letter S that I had previously painted with the crackle effect. I'll have to show y'all that in another video if you'd like. I don't have that footage, sorry. And here I'm just cutting the bottoms of those birdies off in sections and gluing those to the back of that letter with just some of it poking out of the front. It's going to give an illusion of lace. And I'm going to do that around the whole thing. And the S is for my new last name. I got married in October. We're coming up on our year anniversary. Yay me. So I wanted this to put up this fall. And hence the buffalo check and the flowers I put in here and the colors. It screams fall to me. So now I've got the tops of these birdies, and I'm going to cut the very tips off, basically making half beads out of those. So I used the first one and marked the second, third, and fourth ones with a pencil so I could cut those out to the same size. And those things went flying everywhere. I started giggling at myself. Anyway, I got 4 of those and painted those with the color Ink by Waverly. And I did 2 coats on those. Now I've got this piece of paracord. I'm going to yank the guts out of that and put that through the 2 hooks at the top. And I hope I shorten that eventually because that looks really long. And now I'm hot gluing our little half beads, 1 on each corner. And when we're done with that, I'm sorry, my sinuses, y'all, it's terrible. I've got some green grass and some little white daisies that I'm sticking down in the corner of this thing. It's kind of giving me farmhouse vibes. I'm not sure. What do y'all think? Farmhouse, like French shabby chic? I don't know. Y'all let me know what kind of style you think this thing fits into. And just let me know what you think of the project overall. I had a lot of fun making this one. Lots of little working parts. Anyway, drop a comment. And here is everything, you guys. Sorry if I was a little awkward in today's video. I have been fighting some serious sinus infection stuff, and I'm all nasally. I thank you very much for stopping by and watching my video. I hope you got some inspiration out of it, or some entertainment at the very least. drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. It helps my channel. Subscribe. Stay around. Let's learn from each other. And to all of my subscribers, a big hug. I love you guys. And I'll see you all next time.